Analysis. Apologies with kicking off a little late, but then we just run through all the fundamentals first, then we go to the technical setup that we have for this week. So I say good morning to everyone. I believe you can all hear me loud and clear. So this week, we start from the fundamentals for today, Monday. Today is Monday, the 30th of March, 2026. And the key event today, there's going to be German prelim CPI, from the Eurozone, specifically Germany. That's German prelim CPI monthly today. Now it's an all-day event, so just watch out for volatility on the euro pairs, any point in time in the course of the day, because market or price will react to this particular news event. Now, later today by 3 p.m., the Fed Chair Powell from the United States will give a speech that will impact upon the dollar. So let's take note of these two key fundamental events today. Now, tomorrow, Tuesday, by 12:30 a.m., there will be CPI from Tokyo. Good morning, Madam Monaji. There will be CPI call. Tokyo core CPI yearly will take place from Tokyo, at Tokyo by 12:30 a.m. on Tuesday, night time, Nigerian time. And also Tuesday, 10 a.m. in the morning, there'll be core CPI flash estimate, CPI flash estimate yearly from the Eurozone again. So we can see that there is continuous impact on the euro, based on this CPI news event. So that means we expect a lot of activity or volatility on the euro today, tomorrow, continuously. And tomorrow again, 1:30 p.m. That'll be GDP, that's gross domestic product from Canada. That could be a high impact event that could push the market. And also tomorrow, 3 p.m., there'll be JOLTS job opening and CB consumer confidence combined together, 3 p.m. from the United States. So these are events that are moving tomorrow. And on Wednesday, there will be ADP non-farm employment change from the United States by 1:15 p.m. Now, this always come up a few days before the release of the NFP. And also Wednesday, there'll be core retail sales and retail sales by 1:30 p.m. and ISM manufacturing PMI, ISM manufacturing prices by 3 p.m. So we have expect a lot of movement on the dollar on Wednesday. And on Thursday, there'll be CPI from Switzerland. This is going to be tradable. Please watch out. And also, that will be 7:30 a.m. on Thursday. And also, same Thursday by 1:30 p.m., there'll be unemployment claims. This usually move the market also from the United States. Now, Thursday, New Zealand, Australia, there'll be bank holiday all through Thursday. That's April 2nd. And Friday, Switzerland will join with bank holiday. Friday, the Eurozone will join with bank holiday. And same Friday, United Kingdom will join with bank holiday. Canada will join with bank holiday. So you can see all the banks are going on holiday. So we expect a lot of ranging activity in the market at this particular period. So take note so that you can trade with a lot of caution around this period. If you have all the banks going on holiday, there will likely be a range or irregular movement in the market at such a point as that. But then later on Friday by 1:30 p.m., there'll be average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and unemployment rate. Now, this is the biggest news in the forex market. It takes place, first Friday of every month, and we're expecting it this Friday. And this is PU Prime. We trade this event live, so don't forget to join us on Friday by 1:30 p.m. for live trading of NFP. It's for funded clients, so you need to have funds in your trading account. So you can go ahead now and start planning towards funding. If you need guidance on how to do that, reach out to your account manager. They will surely guide you on how to go about funding your account in preparation for the NFP on Friday. All right, so without much ado, that's just the major fundamental events we have this week. I see that virtually a lot of events are tradable and will lead to volatility. So let's watch out for them. Good morning, Mr. Michael Ebong. All right, so with that being said, I'll just go straight to the chart for us to look at the technical setup I will be watching for this week. Now, this is NFP week, so usually in most instances the dollar might just be very quiet. I'm not saying it's cast in stone, but by experience, that happens a lot. So please trade the major pairs with a lot of caution. The reason is because most of the time when we have the NFP, the market is always quiet, awaiting the release of the data, because that data is what will give direction to the dollar, for the next couple of weeks thereabout. So trade major pairs with a lot of caution this week. Okay, so let's start with the main analysis. Now, from what I'm seeing on the weekly time, sorry, this is daily time frame. Now, what I do here is called top-down analysis. We look at the market from the higher time frame to gain direction. Then the lower time frame will give us entry possibilities. Now, on the on the higher time frame, I mean daily and weekly, because those are the big time frames that we look at both as day traders and even as swing traders. So on the daily time frame, we can see that price closed last Friday, hitting the resistance level, resistance zone on the dollar index. That means technically we should be looking for a downward movement on the dollar this week. Now, at a closer look, it's also looking a lot like we are having what may look like a head and shoulder pattern, which could indicate if it works out fine. If it works out, all things being equal, that can indicate a potential for the dollar to drop for quite some time to come. It all depends. Let's just watch and see. So with this, I'll be bearish on the dollar, for this week. And if that works out just as I'm seeing, then I can go ahead and check the major pairs and see what is likely going to happen to them. So I'll start with the USD CHF. Now, USD CHF on the daily time frame price currently is approaching this main resistance on the daily time frame. It's not yet there. Price is not there yet, but then we may see a push up of price up before we expect a reversal. And also, I think there is also a downward moving trend line which can act as a confluence for that bearish movement. But then for the USD there might be a push up first before we see the bearish breakout. Let me just draw this clearly. Okay. Now, when we're drawing trend lines, we are not forcing it. If it's not aligning, we ignore, but this aligns. So here we can see that price is making a series of lower highs, taking a slight touch here. So we're expecting price to touch the trend line again the fourth time right here. And that area coincides with a resistance, which will lead to a bearish movement. So we just watch the dollar close in the course of today for price to close up that gap, before we see a bearish movement. So we're bearish on the USD And since we're bearish on the USD we'll be looking at a bullish movement on the Euro USD and the GBP USD. Now, Euro USD has been making some massive downtrend movement since the whole of last week. Price has been dropping very fast, and it's looking a lot like price closed the week with, as in last week, with something that looked like a triple bottom pattern on the daily time frame, which might indicate preparation for a bullish movement. And if we take it down to 4 hour, it's a lot clearer. We can draw our trend line, and we have a valid support right here. So we still end up having our confluence with trend line support meeting, which indicates we should be looking out for a bullish movement on Euro USD. Now, this could happen in the course of today, so I'll just take it straight down to the 1 hour time frame, which could give us possible entry potential. So this is a 1 hour. We have a falling wedge already drawn, and price has been doing a series of lower high, lower low, and now it's time to expect a reversal as in a breakout to the upside direction. So what will be our sign for our entry? Our entry will be price clearly breaking out above this trend line. Now, price is testing the trend line, is ranging around it. We don't have a clear-cut breakout at the moment. We'll be waiting for a new candle, a new bullish candle. Everything we're seeing presently is a range. So we'll wait for a new candle. So in waiting for that, I also want to mark this area as a range. So we need a new candle to break out above this region. We need our RSI to be clearly above 50. We need our MACD to be clearly above zero to trigger a buy on the USDCHF. So the area where all this aligns up, we mark it as our confluence, or we call it an alignment. Then we can trigger a buy on the Euro USD. So I'm bullish on the Euro USD today. Also, I'll be bullish on the GBP USD. Reason is because Euro USD and GBP USD mostly they are positively correlated, meaning they go in the same direction most of the time. And that's what correlation is all about. When an instrument goes in the same direction most of the time with another, we say they are positively correlated. And if it goes in opposite direction most of the time, we say they are negatively correlated. But then I'm seeing a lot more confluence on the GBP USD because this GBP USD on the daily time frame price is making a series of higher lows, and we have another touch here which could trigger price to the upside. And presently, price has touched a confluence point where trend line and support, because you can see there's a support there, is meeting. We have a rejection candle forming already on the daily time frame that could trigger price to the upside. So we come over to the 4-hour time frame. We can see that there's already a sharp rejection candle here, indicating a possibility for the upside movement. There's equally a minor support around here, apart from the major one, which also could trigger price to the upside. Okay, we have a support there. So just like the Euro USD, we take it down to the 1-hour time frame. Now, this is still far from breakout, but it's possible it may end up with an inverse head and shoulder. It's a 50-50. Even if it doesn't, all I know is that I'm expecting price to break out to the upside, RSI above 50, MACD above zero. So we'll be looking out for that in the course of today to trigger a breakout on the GBP USD. All right, so these are the two major, okay, three. I've talked about the USD CHF, the Euro USD, but I think the emphasis should be more on the Euro USD and the GBP USD. USD CHF, we still have some other movement to make before the breakout. So just focus on the Euro USD and the GBP USD, and we are bullish on both of them. We are bullish on both of them. All right. Now, since we are bearish on the dollar, looking at the possibility of a bearish movement on the USD card. The USD card, and this will be my reason for that. For the USD card, on the daily time frame, price has been in an overall downtrend. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and price is approaching the lower high again. Now, just like the USD CHF, it needs to close up with some bullish movement, then we expect a breakout. So we have a confluence here, the lower high and the resistance, they coincide at that region. So from this point, if price push up, now let me check the number of pips required for that. Price needs just about roughly some between 20 to, let's just say between 20 pips to 25 pips thereabout. It just needs to enter that zone, then we'll experience a sharp breakout to the downside, and that will likely happen because of the dollar index that already hit a resistance on the daily time frame. So with that projection in mind, we can come to the lower time frame and draw a trend line. We have a rising wedge pattern already set up. Now, on one angle, this is already looking like a head and shoulder, but I still believe price should hit this zone before we expect the breakout. Let's just watch it closely, in the course of the day. All I know is that once price breaks out below here, I should be ready to trigger a sell. Final confirmation will be RSI below 50, and possibly my MACD should cross below zero to trigger a sell on the USD card. So I'm bearish on the Euro USD card. I'm bullish on Euro USD and the GBP USD. I have other pairs I'll be looking at in the course of the week, and one of them will be the GBP CHF. And there's some other pairs I'm looking at here, but some of them are going contrary to the setup at the moment. So I'm trying to be very careful so that I don't bring up some confusion in terms of uh, what's it called now? Correlation, some correlation confusion. All right, but let's still look at them because they are also high probability setup. Now, there's a lot of strength on the JPY, sorry, on the CHF rather. Yeah, there's strength on there's weakness on the JPY though, but on the CHF there seems to be a lot of strength. So we may see uh some of the CHF pairs going bearish, and that's what will likely happen to the USD CHF, and Euro CHF and GBP CHF may also follow suit. But then I would advise you trade with a lot of caution, or possibly the one that breaks out first, is the one you should trade either between the Euro USD, GBP USD, or the Euro CHF and the GBP CHF. Just trade with a lot of caution. Now, for the Euro CHF, there's a very, very high probability setup right here already formed. And that's we have a lower high, and price hitting at the third time with a valid support zone. This region, a confluence, technically, we are looking for a downward movement on the Euro CHF. Now, please, if you're just joining us, kindly mute your device. Mr. Joshua Corey, kindly mute your device. All right, so price is back to this resistance zone from where there could be a potential for a bearish movement. Now, the difference is that on this other setup I'm showing you now, they are purely swing. Now, all the ones I've mentioned on the major pairs, they are intraday. So I think that's just clears out the analysis. These other ones are purely swing. So trade them only as swing. Only as swing. So we should be expecting a breakout to the bearish direction on the Euro CHF in the course of this week. Again, your RSI should cross below 50 and your MACD should cross below zero. Actually, that would take quite some time before all that happens. So that will even out any irregularity between it and the Euro USD. So, but then on the same time, at the same time, also don't trade both at the same time. If the Euro USD triggers first, which most likely will be in the bullish direction, take that as an intraday signal. Then if it's the Euro CHF may take quite some time. Like I said, it's a swing setup. So just watch it, you know, uh, evolve eventually into a tradable setup. And I think I need to end here with the GBP CHF. I've been watching both for some time, and I hopefully believe they should trigger in the course of this week. So for the GBP CHF, likewise, it has similar setup with the Euro CHF, and overall bearish movement on the trend line, rather on the daily time frame, and a previous support, minor support here. Well, not really turn resistance. Price still, reacted around it, but then we have some reaction there. So technically, we have a rising wedge, and I'll be looking out for a further bearish movement in the course of this week as a swing trade, not day trade. Now we have a rejection candle, right? Now, like I said, this is purely for swing traders. If you're not a swing trader, don't bother about the Euro CHF and the GBP CHF, strictly for swing traders. So we have a rejection candle. That's a candle that closed on Friday. So that will also see price breakout to the downside. And on the 4 hour, there's a rising wedge already formed. So we'll be looking out for a breakout in the course of this week on the GBP CHF. RSI should be below 50 at the entry, and MACD should be below zero. All right, that will be all for my end this morning. Let me do a little recap. I've looked at the USDX, that's the dollar index, and technically the dollar index is very, very bearish, based on the fact that price closed on a resistance level last week. So we'll be looking out for a bullish movement on the Euro USD. We're going to be buying the Euro USD once price breaks out to the upside, and we'll be looking for a buy also on the JP USD once price breaks out to the upside. For USD CAD, we are bearish, though we anticipate price will go hit this resistance before the breakout happens. So we're bearish on the USD CAD, and these are all intraday setup. Now for the swing, for those who are swing traders, we are bearish on the Euro CHF on the 4 hour time frame, and we're bearish on the GBP CHF, also on the 4 hour time frame. All right, that'll be all from my end this morning. If you have any question, you have a specific instrument, I will only attend to a few, so you can go ahead and drop them now as we begin to round up. So while we're waiting for the analysis request, let me just make a reminder for those who are just joining us. Friday, we're having a live trading session. We're trading, you know, NFP. NFP is non-farm payroll. It measures the rate of employment in the United States. It's the biggest event in the forex market. We trade it live at PU Prime, and I always say we have about 80% win rate. Make sure you join us. That day, we're going to be dropping we're going to start with analysis, which will take off by 1 p.m. We analyze the market for you. We give you the reasons why we're either buying or selling. Then we drop the signal. Now, join us early enough. No African time. We'll give the signal, you take it, and we wait for the data to be released, and the signal gets triggered. Now, it's for funded clients, so you need to have funds in your trading account to trade this event. So you go ahead and fund your account. If you don't know how to go about that, reach out to your account manager, or you may reach out to me. I can guide you on how to go about funding your account. Okay, so I have some requests here. NAS 100 and AUDJPY. I think I'll just take the first. Okay, we have just two. I'm taking that just those two. Okay, what's the minimum deposit with PU Prime? Now, the issue is not about the minimum. I always say the issue, the question should rather be what really do you want to make from this market? That should inform the amount you fund. You know, forex trading requires you have enough liquidity to trade. You have enough equity to trade. So it all depends on you. You have 1,000, 10,000, 5,000, 300. The choice actually is yours as much as your pocket can afford. That's what matters. You know, if you're saying the minimum is $50, $100, but how much do you want to make with that? You know, you don't have unrealistic expectations when trading. You want something real. Forex trading is real business, so you need a real, reasonable account to trade. So fund with what you know you have the capacity to fund, and also based on the kind of profit you want to make. If you want to make 10, 20, 30%, then you should know that if you fund $1,000, I mean, that can give you between $100 and $300, every month. That may just be good. And if it's lower than that, all I'm saying is that the choice is really yours, not really about the minimum. The question should be how much you really plan to make. That should inform the amount you fund. All right. Somebody is asking me to check AUDJPY and NAS 100. So I'm looking at the AUDJPY. I'm trying to get my confluence. Trying to get my confluence on the 4 hour time frame. Okay, let me start from the daily. From the daily time frame, we can see that price moved downtrend last week. We're not really having a valid support there, but in the absence of nothing to hold on to, let's just hold on to that. What I'm saying is this. We have a rejection candle, we have a fake out. Yeah, that green candle is really a fake out. So for me, it's not really a strong support like that. I think I should just ignore it. I think it's better. All right. So then on the 4 hour time frame, we can see that price, has been in a downtrend, and sorry, that's actually the overall trend is actually bullish. Sorry. So we have higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and price came back, you know, to retest the trend line. So technically, we should be looking for an upward movement today, all things being equal. So if price breaks out, now this is conditional. It's really conditional because we have a falling wedge. If price is able to break out up here, then we'll see that will be the confirmation with RSI above 50, MACD above zero. That will be the confirmation for the bullish breakout. However, if price breaks the trend line downwards, we may have a downward movement. So just watch out for how the market really choose to react to this. I think I should even make it a lot more valid by having a minor resistance here. So if price is able to break out above that minor resistance, because at that point it will have formed a double bottom pattern that will strengthen the breakout. Otherwise, we may have price breakout to the downside. So, but then for now, I favor the upside, except the market condition changes. Don't forget the confirmation: RSI above 50 and MACD above zero. NAS 100. Trying to scan for it. Okay, this is it. All right, so this is NAS 100 on the daily time frame, and we have price trading around a support, and price is here. So technically, we should be looking for a movement in the bullish direction. I'm just trying to see for other confirmations. All right, so support alone should also suffice on the daily time frame. Okay, you can see that we had a rejection candle there, which is still confirming the bullish breakout. Now this is a 1 hour time frame. Now we have a bullish setup on NAS 100. Let me go down again. Either 1 hour or 30 minutes, price seems to have broken out above the trend line, but the coast is still not clear. We're still in a sell zone. It's still not time to take a bullish trade. What I will advise is this: it's possible that price, you can see there was a slight retracement here. Such can be repeated here before the price breaks out. In fact, it may be that price will retest this support, then break out again from there. So I will advise you watch this area closely for a possible retest, then a breakout. Don't trigger a buy yet. You can see RSI is still very, very far from 50. MACD is still very, very far from zero. Even if you go down to 30 minutes, on the 30 minutes time frame, the direction is bullish in the real sense, but it's not time to trigger a buy yet. See, for the 30 minutes again, I still think it's going to drop before the breakout. Yeah, in this case, RSI is above 50, but your MACD has not crossed. So I believe strongly there should still be a retest before the breakout. So watch out for that before trading NAS 100. You're welcome, Sam. All right, I've attended to AEDJPY NAS 100. I think I'll take the third one from Madam Munaji, and that's gold, and we'll be done. All right, so gold. I mentioned the last week that I am bullish on gold for now, except if you check the lower time frame, because we saw a massive drop and price hit a previous support. sorry, resistance, turn support again with a rejection, very massive rejection candle on the daily time frame. Now we can see a reversal candlestick last week, a bearish and a bullish, and currently today is looking as if it's bullish. But then let's go to lower time frame because you don't trade gold on daily. Even 4 hour can be risky, so we just use those things for direction. Let me go down to 1 hour. I'm not seeing anything on 4 hour. Okay, let me go back to 4 hour. On 4 hour, what I'm seeing here is a resistance. There is a resistance here. Now on 1 hour, likewise, there is a resistance. So that's that calls for concern. All right. So we have a resistance on 1 hour, a resistance on 4 hour. Now, if this resistance on 1 hour holds, price will break out to the downside. If price now except your scalper, if price breaks out of this 1 hour resistance, it is expected to retest and go to hit the 4 hour resistance. That may be tradable. May be tradable, but only for scalpers. A breakout, a retest, and a continuation to this 4 hour resistance. From where we may experience a reversal again, or a breakout, a retest, and a continuation. You know, either way, this is purely technical with gold. For now, we don't know what Trump and Iran is doing. They've been quiet for some days, so we don't know how. We don't know whether hostilities will return or not. But they're trying to find a way to resolve the issue of Strait of Hormuz. They are communicating. United States and Iran, they are communicating. United States has its terms. Iran also has its terms, but their terms are not agreeing. United States wants a co-control of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran does not want that. Iran wants to still be in control, and that's a major bone of contention. Iran wants United States to completely evacuate the Middle East. I mean, especially their military bases, and the US is not going to take that. Iran wants to continue its nuclear war program. US is saying no. So you can see that uh, there's no truth in view because both parties are not, agreeing to each other's terms. So if the hostilities increase, gold will definitely break out. But then now that they are not neither fighting, still talking, anything can happen. We may see some downward movement, very possible. But then just trade based on what the market is giving us technically. So I said technically for now, if price cannot break that resistance up there, I expect a move to the downside. We may go down to 5 minutes, to see that. So you can see if price does not break out above the current resistance, we may see a 5 minute reversal. We may see a 5 minute reversal. Price may break out to the downside. That is very, very possible. All right. And again, let's go back to the 1 hour. If price breaks out above that 1 hour, then it may go to hit the 4 hour resistance. I think we should just stop with that 4 hour resistance for now. So if price breaks out above this current for 1 hour, I said it, we expect a breakout, a retest, and a continuation. You only trigger a buy when it breaks out above this continuation pattern. So that's my clear view on gold. All right, that will be the end of the analysis this morning. Don't forget to join us 12:30 p.m. today. We have another analysis session, and by 4 p.m. today, there will be an online training for those of our clients who are outside Lagos and Abuja. So join us again 12:30, 4 p.m. today. And physical training runs twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at our physical locations. That's Abuja and Lagos. Our online training is also twice in a week, Mondays and Wednesdays by uh by 4 p.m. Physical training is twice a week, 11 a.m. We hope to see you in all these events. Take care, trade safe, and have a great week ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, sir. We
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. God bless you.
Amen. You
Thank
too,
you.
man. You're welcome.
Bye.